Hello everyone, and welcome to this audio podcast. This audio podcast is part of a quantum edition. This audio podcast as part of a Labostix sequence. This audio podcast as part of a vortex gauntlet. This audio podcast as part of the abstract, and this audio podcast as part of a Storm Labostix production. In this audio podcast, or through this audio podcast today, I look at sort of an abstract or part of the abstract in regards to works from 2023, and looking at observing chemokine and chemokine receptor expression in acute allograft rejection, or AAR, and looking at a sort of a retrospective on human transplant immunobiology and laboratory practice. So, as part of the abstract, as follows, or this works as part of the abstract. As part of the abstract, the following is as part of the works. So, renal transplantation is a preferred modality for recipients with end-stage renal disease, or ESRD, who tend to make sort of good surgical risks, and able to comply with for example, immunosuppression pharmacotherapies. Clinical transplantation has advanced significantly, with most transplant institutions reporting one year renal allograft prognosis or survival rates of better than 80%. Nevertheless, rejection and a progressive loss of allografts over time continue. Over the last decade or so, many reports of chemokine or chemokine receptor expression in context of clinical or experimental allograft rejection have been highlighted. And however, there are often numerous ligands for a given chemokine receptor. Research looking at specific chemokine receptors has been increasingly crucial. A little bit in regard to acute allograft rejection, sort of specifically or particularly, acute cellular rejection is mediated by lymphocytes which have become allo-activated against donor transplantation antigens. In vivo stimulation of alloreactive T cells takes place primarily in the peripheral lymphoid tissues of recipients, although intragraft sensitization may occur. One of the strongest stimulus is provided by donor dendritic cells, also referred to as passenger lymphocytes, in allografts which enter circulation and end up on lymphoid tissues of recipients. These dendritic cells function as antigen presenting cells, and they provide a sort of strong stimulus of human leukocyte antigen class 2 reactive CD4 cells, which can stimulate the growth of differentiation of HLA class 1 reactive CD8 positive cytolytic lymphocytes. Alloreactive lymphocytes enter the circulation, and they react with allograft vascular endothelium, and the primary target of the initial stage of cellular rejection. As part of the sort of aims and objectives of this works from 2023. The investigation looks to provide a retrospective overview of observing chemokine and chemokine receptor expression in acute allograft rejection, or AAR, in context of human transplantation and transplant immunobiology. That draws this audio excuse me. That draws this audio podcast to a close. This audio podcast as part of a quantum edition. This audio podcast as part of a Labostix sequence. This audio podcast as part of a Vortex gauntlet. And this audio podcast as part of the abstracts. And this audio podcast as part of a Storm Labostix production.